Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday, May 8th. If you're celebrating Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day. Hope you're taking your mother out. I'll be taking a friend's mother out. Okay. Today, this is in replacement for my every Monday seminars. Typically, it's the best getting better every Monday. And I'll be flying as a guest of IBM to IBM Vision 2016. Watson Analytics selected me as a innovator and an influencer due to my web work. And I'm grateful and I'm honored to be attending their week-long session from Monday to Thursday late. And so I wouldn't be able to do a webinar tomorrow. I'll be flying at 6:15 a.m. You can think of me. I'll certainly be thinking of all of you. So thank you for joining me, and you can catch the replay later. These are now all free. And I'm grateful to be able to help people. And so I do a lot of helping people in sales, and it's been very, very successful, and I'm grateful. I have a lot of wonderful clients. Hello to all of you. Happy Sunday. So here's my book, Sales Success for the Rookie. It was published about a month ago now. It's on Amazon. You can download it for your Kindle. You can buy the paperback version. And I'm grateful. And it's a lot of updated stuff. There's stuff in here about multi-level marketing. There's stuff in here about using LinkedIn and social media and how to use it properly and what not to do. And there's tips and ideas about different training programs. Dennis Brown has got a great book about LinkedIn. And so if you Google Dennis Brown and get LinkedIn, you'll find out about it. And I have a link in here for it. Sandler Sales also has a guide for social media and LinkedIn that you can download. You can go to sandlersalesinstitute.com and find out all about that. Okay. I also have Imagine 30 Days to a New You. I'm a contributing author. This came out in January. It's an international bestseller. And I'm grateful to have been invited by Justin Sachs, who is the publisher. And he's also the publisher of Motivational Press. He's the president of Motivational Press. He's also the publisher of my book, The Sales Success for the Rookie, How to Succeed at Sales Right from the Start. So Justin invited me to write a chapter in this book. So I'm one of the 29 contributing authors, 30 contributing authors, and Justin altogether. And it's 30 days. Imagine 30 days to a new you. And so I'm grateful to have been included in that and offer my ideas. And my chapter starts on page 222. If you want to buy it and just read my chapter, I don't know why you would. I've read the whole book more than once, and I use it. I leave it in different places in my house, and I pick it up when I'm sitting down. Maybe I'm sitting and thinking or taking a break, and I pick up and read a chapter. And there's a lot of great advice and ideas in there from, like I said, 30 different authors. So it's a great book if you want to change your life. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about my week. And my week, I spent time working with salespeople in the field and working with people at a booth. And so, yeah, I actually go out and work using my principles that I teach because I learned them by going out and selling 40 years ago. 1975, I started in sales. That's right, I know it doesn't look possible. I started when I was 4. I was just a wee one out in the road. And so I would go in to see people, and I was using the traditional methods. Hey, everybody had a spiel. And sometimes I would be there, and a salesperson would be there giving a spiel. And I would just kind of wait and hang out, maybe get a cup of coffee, or I would be nearby, and I would listen to the spiels. And they were horrible. They were horrible. If you're using a spiel, you're way behind the times. It isn't important that you're talking, believe it or not. It's not important that you're talking, especially today. It's more important that you get the prospect talking and show that you have some interest, some empathy in what they have to say. So this week, I was actually helping people. And so the first day, Wednesday, I was in Atlantic City at a show. In fact, it was the NJSSA, the New Jersey Sanitary Supply Association. And one of my clients, I suggested that they get a booth, and they did. And they said to me, Steve, we went to it 2 years ago when you were president, and we really didn't get a lot from it. I said, guys, did you get 10 people that stopped at your booth? Did you get 20? the cost of calling on new people cold, right, to break through, the cost of calling on 20 people might be what, $500 a person. By the time you break through, 500 an account. In that industry, it's a little less than, say, software and some of the other industries that can be 2,500 to 5,000 to acquire, the cost to acquire a customer. So if it's $500 in cost, that means the cost is your time invested in breaking through, and someone comes to you, you've just saved all that time. It saved you $500. So if you've got 10 people that come to your booth, did you pay $5,000 for the booth? No, I know they didn't. I know they didn't. Now, so people complain they didn't get something from it. They didn't get something from it. Whenever I hear the word, I didn't get anything from it, Steve, I'm wondering what they're giving. What are they giving? What are they giving out? Are they just expecting people to come to the booth and buy? That's not how it works. You have to give out an energy, first of all, that's welcoming. That doesn't just say, hey, we got great stuff and we expect that you'll buy it. You've got to spend some time talking to people. What are you buying now? What works? What doesn't work? What would you like to have done better? Is there anything in particular you're looking for? What new products or new ideas are you looking for? Do you have a second for us to show you what we've got? You've got to give good energy. You've got to give something out to get something back. So when I hear, I didn't get anything, you think I'm making fun. I am. I didn't get anything, Steve. When people say they're not getting, it's because they're not giving. They're not managing the energy that they put out. So when you're in a slump, you got to change things up because it's about what you're putting out. Okay, so fast forward, however you want to do it, 2 years. It's the next event. The show is every other year, always in New Jersey. This year it was at Harrah's, very nice, new convention center. It's a new venue, very, very good. All right, so they said, Steve, we don't think we're going to be at the show. I said, yeah, it's a good idea. And I'll be there on the first day, Wednesday, and I'll introduce you to some people. So they bought the booth for $1,395, and there was no cost of getting the stuff into the exhibition hall because it's very reasonable there. So for $1,395 and two guys' time, the two guys that are in charge of making things happen for this particular company, and I brought them to people, and I brought people to the booth, and I brought them to people, and they had people stop at the booth. So if they have 20 people to follow up on in the first day, that's what would it take to get 20 people, 20 appointments in your business? Those are warm calls now because they met the people. They're following up because they've been told to follow up, and they came to their door. They came to the booth. They do have a nice booth, so that's giving something, right? So when I say you give something, you give a nice booth. You give the energy of a nice booth. You show people that you put some thought into it and some design, and you invested some money. That's giving something, right? That's a giving because you've taken the time to do something worthwhile and attract people. And they look at it and say, wow, pretty professional. Okay, let's talk to these people. Still, you cannot control the outcome. That doesn't mean there'll be a sale because they stopped at your booth. Now the work starts of following up. And so I didn't go to the second day of the show, and I'm waiting for the report from the guys so that I can continue to coach them a little bit about what to do in the follow-up. Now, so the next day, Thursday last week and Friday, I was on the road with a salesperson who's relatively new in selling in his business. And he's done a very good job taking over for a retiring salesperson. And he's maintained all the customers. What the company's looking for is, let's get some new customers. Let's get them out there knocking on some new doors. And so in my book and in my own theory that I've been practicing for years, that I learned and taught myself because I didn't like the method of walking in the door, cold calling, and then trying to sell people something. You don't have to right away. So I started with this young man, and we knocked on doors, and we said to people, hey, we're not here to sell anything for now. We are sales guys, and we're not here to sell anything for now. We see that you're buying what we sell, so we wanted to talk a little bit about it, introduce ourselves, let you know we're going to be in the neighborhood. Not necessarily now, but we had a few questions. Do you have just a few minutes? Yes was the answer. Yes. And then we said, okay, who do we talk to? Right? Who do we talk to? And we got the names. In a couple of cases, the people were there and they said, oh, we can talk to you now. Wow. Okay. We can talk to you now. And we found out things like, well, you must have a supplier. We can see that you're using the stuff we sell. Do you like them? Oh, yeah. In a couple of cases, they've been with them so I said, how long you been with them? 15 years. Wow. We wouldn't want to interrupt that relationship. How's it going? It's good. We love it. Okay, great. You learned something. You learned that they're happy. And we said, you know what? We've got relationships 15, 20, 30 years. Our company's been around a long time. In a couple of cases, the people said, yeah, that's true. You have been around a long time. See, they knew about the company. And we said, geez, we wouldn't want to upset your relationship with this person. Yeah, you're right. Do you mind if we stop in, 3 or 4 times a year with an idea, if we had an idea? Sure. Now, I like to ask too, all right, so are there any ideas, anything in particular you're looking for now? No, was the answer. And we got permission to stop back from time to time because let me tell you what the law is about salespeople not coming back. After 4 calls, after the 3rd call, in fact, 96%, 95 or 96% of the salespeople have dropped off. Because in this age of immediate gratification, they want something. They want to get something. Do you even hear how I use that word? Because that's how that word, I want to get something, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a 5-year-old at the end of a supermarket aisle saying, Daddy, Mommy, I want to get some gum. That's what it sounds like. Who cares what you want to get? That's not what selling's about today. Selling today is about, are you interested in the customer and the client? Do you have a walk away point so that you can ask questions to see, does this customer really fit my ideal? You want them talking. Your job today is to meet people, to get information, help them buy. Help them buy. And even if it's not you, you notice Progressive Insurance is using that? They list in their ads everybody's rates. They'll say, we'll get you a good rate even if it's not us. Can you imagine? That's what I've been teaching for 30 years. And I've been using it for 35 years myself, 37 years. I mean, I've been selling for 40 years, but I didn't like what was being taught at all. I didn't like what was being taught way back when, 1975. So I started helping people buy. I've made some amazing sales. Amazing. And I'm willing to go out with anybody to prove it works because I know it works. It works great. So I was out with this particular salesperson, and he took me to one place because I wanted to see some of the places, and I gave him an assignment to come up with targets based on an ideal customer. I said, so first, sit with the boss, look at your territory, and define some ideal customers based on you have some great customers that like you and you like them. So now you define an ideal customer. So maybe it's the first level of ideal customer and it's the second level because you listen, we all want the ideal customer. Then we maybe have one subset just below that. Then we have a walkaway point. Where are we going to say, geez, from what I'm hearing, I don't think we're a fit. Do you mind if I share with you why? And then you could tell them, we have a $500 minimum. I'm hearing that you're ordering 2-3 times a week, and I'm concerned you wouldn't be able to meet the minimum. We don't mind coming here 2-3 times a week, but we would prefer that you meet the minimum each time. And now you get some facts. Yeah, you're right. It's only $150 every time I order. If I could order once a week, I just don't have the storage. Or whatever their story is. You can continue to work from there and negotiate or not. Or not. I mean, because you could say to someone, you sure you couldn't just order once a week? Can I go see your storage with you? Let's take a look at it. Okay. If they're $1,000 customer or $2,000 customer or $3,000 customer, or it's $1 million customer because you sell software. I coach some software companies, and I coach some equipment salespeople. And so it's a whole different parameter, but than it is with this particular salesman I was working with this week, because it was more business to business supplies. But in the case of software, it's the same idea. People have a parameter. You have an ideal customer. They have things that they're looking for in the software world. And there's a place where it's a walkaway is required, because they tell you something that says, oh, this isn't going to be ideal. And now you can work from there. You can begin the negotiation by you saying, geez, I'm not thinking, I'm from what I'm hearing, you show a little concern, right? Because you would be naturally, I don't think we're going to be a fit. I mean, I could share why. Let me ask you another question. Why was it that you were looking for our software? What prompted you to reach out to us? Or what prompted you, if it's that they gave you an appointment that your company got, or that you got yourself, you'd say, so what prompted you to say yes? What came to mind when you said yes to the appointment? So you can begin a dialogue that establishes a back and forth, and that's what you want. An adult conversation, a back and forth based on having a real good customer. You want something that's going to be longer lasting. In the case of software, there's people that have very unrealistic expectations. They want you to, we got a budget of $100,000. Wow, I'm not sure that's going to work for us because our software is $250 to $500. Now, that doesn't mean that you're out if their budget's 100, because they just may be telling you a story to see if they can get you to get that low, or they don't realize how much what they're looking for could hurt them, right? Or they don't realize how the right software would have a return on investment. So then I'd want to know, so let's go back to your current plan and your current software. What are the problems with it? So you got to wait. It could be productivity. It could be that the system's down a lot. You just have to find out. Okay, so that every time the system goes down, how long is it? It's just a few minutes probably, right? Oh, no. I mean, sometimes we've been down for a day. A day? What does that cost you? Wow. How do you feel about that? Have you talked to them about it? What do they say about it? They've been out 20 times. Every time they come out, they spend more and more time trying to fix it. They keep writing patches on top of patches. Okay, so if it's $5,000 every time you go down, or $10,000 cost every time you get down, how many days were you down last year? Oh, 20 days. $20,000 times 20 is $400,000. They can afford your software, but you get my point. Your job is to get information, and it's all different based on the different customers. And if you're selling equipment, it's very similar. Again, they're going to upgrade, buy new equipment. Or let's say that your billing system has some advantages. If you're selling equipment in the healthcare market, there's a lot of different nuances. Again, it's based on what it is you sell. You start with the end in mind. You know what your ideal customer is and what your ideal business relationship is. You know where you would say yes. Below that, so you have the ideal and you have the slightly less than ideal. Don't go down too far. And then you have the walkaway point, so that you understand how to build questions based on those three parameters. Now, so with this young man that I'm working with, when I come back to him in 2 weeks to ride with him for 2 days, because I put my money where my mouth is, that I go expecting he's going to have a plan. He's going to lay out for me his ideal customer based on looking at his customer list, because he's experienced and some customers like him. Then I asked him, so the ideal, though somewhat less than ideal, and then I want some target customers from that. So now he should know from his territory what are targets that match the ideal customer that he has already that he doesn't sell now. So they become targets. Now there's a lot of things he can do. So first he gives me those targets. Then I asked him for targets that stretch him, that are uncomfortable for him, that he's a little bit nervous about. Maybe he thinks he doesn't know it all. He could never call on that particular market because he's not ready. You know, that's BS. That's all BS. You just go, and that's how you learn about anything new. So I want targets that stretch him, right? I hope you're taking notes. Right? I want you to come up with your ideal customers, your somewhat less than ideal, develop targets from those ideals, and then develop some targets that scare you, that stretch you. Because if you're not stretching, you're not going to grow. So then he takes me to an account that he's really nervous about, a potential account. He doesn't call on him. He said, I don't even know who to call on here. I've got to figure that out. Where would you go if you were me? Out of the corner of my eye, I see a guy dressed in a uniform that works for the company. So I walk across the parking lot and say, young man, excuse me, I'm not selling anything. Don't get nervous. And he laughed. He laughed. Said, we are in sales. We're just curious. So this is a great place. Are these all yours that are connected? And we named the names. And he said, yeah, they're all the companies. All right. So where do you go? Like, who do you call on? Oh, you call on Richard, the general manager. He's in that building over there. So now we got a name. Now it was getting close to lunchtime, so we didn't want to irritate the general manager and walk in at lunchtime. But the guy's got a name. And if he doesn't go in between next week, then we're going the week that I get back. Plus, in the meantime, I can email him and say, call the company and get something set up, if you can, with Rich. He's got a name. You know, I always think that I'm blessed. Divine providence walks with me, and the universe walks with me, because here I am with this guy saying, all right, so this is a great place. Have you called on it? No. Do you know who to call on here? No. I don't know where to get the name. Where would you go if you were me? And out of the corner of my eye, I kid you not, a guy walks through the parking lot. He was going to his vehicle to get something. He works for the company. That's great. Isn't that great? And we got a name. There's the first answer. Selling doesn't have to be difficult, and it should be fun. And your bosses should be helping you with the places that you walk away. And maybe it's the places that a negotiation begins. I've had tremendous $1 million sales from places where I walked away and told them I would help them. Hey, if I were you, that's how I left it. It makes sense to me that you couldn't buy from us. Because I asked them, why is it that you say you couldn't buy from us? And they told me, he said, that makes sense. If I were you, I wouldn't buy from us in that particular situation. Hey, if during your process of analyzing all these suppliers that you currently do business with, in 2 cases, I have tremendous stories in 2 cases where the prospect had suppliers and they were doing business with them for years. How could they possibly, this is what they said to me, Steve, how could we possibly buy from you? We're going to go from 16 suppliers to 1. That was one story. The other case was 9 or 10 suppliers going to 1. And we've never done $1 with you. And some of these other people we've done business with for 10, 12, 15. In one case, it was 35 years. They've done business with a supplier for 35 years. And they were going to go to 1. How could they consider me? And I said, you're right. How could you? And while you're going through the process, I have an idea for you. In one case, I said, I think you need a partnership. Oh, okay. What is that? Talk to me, Steve. Well, don't you have all 16 suppliers coming in? Yes. Okay. Somebody will have that answer for you. If not, call me. 4 weeks later, I got that call. If that isn't the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it, living in a universe, having some awe for the miracle called life. You live in something limitless. Your brain doesn't even know how to cope with that, but there's a way to tap into that power. It's called the law of increase. That has to do with one's thinking, not having limited, small-minded thinking. And you got to get away from all small-minded behaviors like gossip and talking about others and complaining to people who can't fix things. All of that is small-minded, and it creates an energy that gets you small-mindedness. It's called the law of increase. What you focus on increases. Don't believe me. You start to practice this stuff for yourself. Clean up your act. Stop talking about others. Stop complaining to people that can't do anything about your issues and challenges. Go to the people that can do something about it. Be a man or be a woman. Be an adult. Go speak to the people that can do something about it. Other than that, stop complaining. Except for the weather. You can call me and say, Steve, the weather sucks. Yeah, you're right. Okay, who's fixing it? No one. You can't fix it. You can intend. That's another story. You can make some intention about it. Okay. So you have an ideal. You have a somewhat less than ideal. You build some targets based on your ideals, working backwards, right? You start with the end in mind. Here's my ideal. Here's my somewhat less than ideal. Here's my walkaway point. You build some targets from that because you're good at it. Then you have a few target customers that stretch you, that scare you, that you think, I don't know if I could ever sell them. I don't, who, me? They're going to buy from me? I don't know everything about their market. So what? You'll learn it. That's how you get in it. You just do it. You got on the bicycle or you got on a motorcycle. You learned how to do it. Maybe it was shaky in the beginning. Maybe you fell a few times. So what? That's how you learn it. Okay, so in the case of this particular guy, he's got an assignment, and when I get back in a couple of weeks, we're going to go call on some of those people. Again, we're going to call on people that are part of his plan. Now, in the meantime, I said, now start asking your existing customers, hey, who do you know who at this company? Who do you know who at this company? I'd like to grow. Then I also said, where does your target market hang out? In other words, do they belong to professional associations? Do your customers, let's say you have a prime target market. In that prime target market that you've identified, and maybe you could use some analytics to help you identify prime targets that are in your business marketplace, right? And then what you do there is you think about where do they hang out? So where can I go to a meeting where there's 100 of them or 70 of them or 50 of them or 40 of them all at once? You belong to their association because most of them will have suppliers that support them. So Chief Information Officer, CIO, Chief Technical Officer, CTO, Chief Marketing Officers, if those are your targets, they belong to associations. And a lot of times the associations have what's called like an affiliate membership, a supplier associate membership. You can join. Now you go to meetings, and here's the thing. You become visible by joining. You become more visible, so visibility is first, visibility. You become more visible by taking on a committee assignment. Get on the golf committee assignment if there's a fundraiser, charity. A lot of associations have charities. If there's a membership committee, you get on the membership. Maybe they're looking for speakers for every meeting. You get on the committee and look for speakers, but you become visible by not just joining, you become visible by getting on committees, get active. Visibility plus credibility. Now you become credible by doing a good job. You better do a good job in those committees, and that equals profitability. Visibility plus credibility equals profitability. Now they say, wow, that guy George or that gal Mary, she not only joined our group, what a job she's doing a membership, or what a job he's doing on the golf tournament, or what a job she's doing getting as speakers. And now you become credible. And all of a sudden, you could stop in where they work. You could be a shoulder to shoulder with somebody at a committee meeting, say, mind if I stop in sometime, by the way, to see you, George? No, Mary, great. That's great. Come on and see me. Because you're credible. And if there's 40 people in the association or 100 that work in the target market that you've selected, you're spending 2 hours or 3 hours a month instead of spending hundreds of hours. Can you imagine what it would take to call on all those people? Even if you started an email campaign and bought some list, they're going to go, I don't know this person. I'm doing business with somebody from the association. Yeah. You get my point. You get my point. So I have a lot of passion for this, helping people buy. And so I coach people on changing it from selling. Don't have commission breath. They could care less about your goals or buying from you. You need to figure out and get some information about where they're at. Are they looking to make a change? Are they upset? Do they have frustration? Do they need an increase in productivity? Are they stuck somewhere that's costing their company a lot of money? Or maybe even they're the one who brought that company in and now they got to make a change or it's going to cost them their job. You need to get information, meet people, get information, help people buy. Okay. Think Flow from Progressive Insurance. Hey, in the Boston area and New England, Herb Chambers is making fun of the old-fashioned selling method in car dealerships because people played games in car dealerships. I remember one guy years ago took my keys. He regretted that, I'll tell you. Yeah, he regretted that because I went right to the top because he didn't know I was in sales training and that I was writing books, that I was an author. I have Sales Success for the Seasoned Veteran, by the way, How to Stay at Peak Performance. I have Wake Up, Jump Into Your Life. I have Sales Success for the Spiritual Salesperson, How to Sell Without Losing Your Soul. I'm working on a few other books. I'm working on a book about family businesses. I'm interviewing people in family businesses because I've worked in family businesses for over 30 years, and I see some of the faux pas, and I see so many of the positive ones. I was talking to a guy I'm going to interview him for my book. They're family businesses in New Jersey. I was talking to him at the show that I was at this week, and they've got so many things that they're doing that are positive for family business members. And that's the light that I want to paint this in, is tell some stories and save people. When you walk down the road and you fall into a pit and it takes you a day to climb out, you say to yourself the next day, boy, I'm going to walk around that hole, right? Let's say you fall in again because you didn't realize it was so wide. You thought you had made it all the way around the edge, and it takes you a day to climb out again. The next day, maybe you find a different route. You find a new path. I'm not falling in that hole again. I found a new road. Okay, so that's the reason I'm writing the family book. I haven't, I tentatively have titled it All in the Family, a book about family business. I don't know what the subtitle will be yet. If you've got some ideas, you can email me. Steve at stevelentini.com. Steve, S-T-E-V-E, at Steve Lentini, Lentini.com. Or you can call me, 917-805-1088, 917-805-1088. Okay, so that's the work for this week. You've got a lot to do. Identify your ideal targets, your ideal customers. From your ideal customer list, you create some targets now in your marketplace. You have your less than ideal, and then you have your walkaway point, right? Let's hope that you've established that, or you'll start working on it the minute the seminar is over, the minute the webinar is over. And then you're also going to work on some targets that really stretch you. And then you're going to start thinking big, broad-minded. You're going to have broad-minded thoughts in your mind. You're going to exercise your brain, right? You exercise your body, you see the results. You see, it's not that big a result, but hey, there's a result. There's a muscle there. Okay. In my mind, I exercise my mind because, it's harder to stay with it because I don't see the result for a while. I have to keep disciplining my thinking, but there's things you can begin to do because I'll bet you'll catch yourself talking about others. That's gossiping, complaining. If the person you're talking about is not there, you're gossiping. Because you can begin a banter with someone who's there, they can defend themselves, or they can counterattack. You can have some fun with it. But if they're not there, you're gossiping. That's small-minded. Another small-minded thing is complaining. You're complaining about others. You're complaining about some situation. It's your company, and you're not talking to the person who can fix it. If you're not talking to the person who can fix it, shut up and go to the person that can fix it, because that's productive. You're not wasting energy. When you're wasting energy, you're small-minded thinking, you're gossiping, you're attracting small-minded results to you. You're going to wonder why your life is more frustrating. It's not as joyful. So do the right thing. Take your complaints to the people who can do something about it. And if the person that you're going to talk about is not in your company, don't talk about them. And begin to think broad-minded, bigger when it comes to the targets and the business deals. You can begin to visualize them. These are all topics for different seminars. And if you go through my YouTube list, you'll find me talking about all of those things. So think big, help people buy, have a great week. I'll talk to you on Monday. I'll be at IBM. I'm a VIP. IBM, I'm very honored again. I'm going to say that I'm honored that IBM Watson Analytics has selected me, identified me, ID'd me as an influencer and an innovator based on my web work. And I'm going to be their guest at Vision 2016 in Orlando all week and as a VIP, and I'm grateful. So They'll be asking my opinions. I'm there with 3 other VIPs, and the asking our opinions and enrolling us in helping them promote Watson Analytics. And so I'm looking forward to learning about it, and I'll promote it if it's as good as they say it is, and it really does look good. And I'm going to give them ideas if I see some things that need improvement. Again, because I'm going to complain to the people that can do something about it. All right. Have a great week. Thanks a lot. Talk to you next week.